Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the month of May 2026. Please like this video. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the month. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Questions, comments, and yeah, basically anything goes down below. Comments. Comments could be letting me know how this video resonated with you, saying hi, anything. Just be kind. Don't be vulgar either. Okay, 3 decks you guys are familiar with, shuffled and ready to go. Okay, you guys, I'm very interested to see how this reading turns out, because if you saw the last reading, which was the weekly, it was, finishing up April, going into the first few days of May. It wasn't the brightest, it wasn't the most optimistic. So I'm very excited to kind of see what's going on here. So let's go, guys. Let's see what's going on for May. All right, we have victim in the shadow, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. Okay. What a controversial archetype to get first thing out of the bat. Okay. Okay, so to be very clear, guys, I don't love the victim archetype because I feel like people confuse it a lot with being an actual victim. There are actual victims out there, okay? There are perpetrators and there are victims. There are victims of crimes. There are victims of situations, okay? That's just the world that we live in, okay? So there will be no victim shaming here on my channel, all right? However, this is kind of talking about the victim archetype, which it's really hard to explain, but it's asking us to be in a more, like, long story short, the energy is asking us to be in more of an empowered state around possibly the negative things that have happened to us, okay? So it's asking us to, how sometimes like actual victims want to be called survivors, because they feel like they've survived it, and it feels like it's a little bit better wording to them. The wording has meaning to them. And so it kind of like feels like that. It feels like, Spirit is asking us to step into the, put on the survival hat and the survivor hat, and feeling empowered about being more in control after something negative has happened to us. So we need that, okay? So we need to really step into that, and that's what Spirit is asking us to do. So hopefully I explained that okay. But yeah, I'm not like one of those people that are like, stop playing the victim, even though you can be doing that, right? For example, if a perpetrator is acting that way when they're actually the ones causing harm, it's very complicated. But that would be them in that archetype, I would say. But anyway, I think you guys get it. It's super complicated, but let's move on. I think I explained the energy okay. But yeah, being more in an empowered state after something negative has happened to you is really what it is about. All right, action needed, owl intuition. So this is pretty straightforward in saying that we need to be so basically this is saying we need to take action on our intuition. So yes, discernment is important, and it's definitely something that you should utilize. But this is basically saying, like, if you have a gut feeling, you have a premonition, you have, a third eye sense, you have a download, however you want, whatever wording you want to use, you must take action on what's kind of going on intuitively, right? So even if it doesn't make logical sense, if it makes intuitive sense, I would go forward with it. Obviously, you guys are responsible for your own decision making, okay? But that's what I'm feeling, and that's what I'm communicating, interpreting, I should say. All right, issue, exchanging gifts. Okay, so there's an imbalance and a give and take somewhere. So you might be over giving or under receiving, or the opposite. Maybe you're taking too much. maybe you're under giving, like that kind of thing. But yeah, so there's an imbalance somewhere. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, it feels like this month it'll become apparent what's imbalanced in that aspect. So you might be giving more, you might be receiving more, something along those lines to correct the imbalance. But you definitely learn that it's an issue. It becomes very obvious. All right, challenge. We have damsel in the shadow, waiting for a knight to provide for you, seduction by romantic illusion. Okay, so we always know damsel, the archetype, by the damsel in distress. You ever hear that? That would be the shadow of this. It's almost like, it's a little bit like saying like codependency, like we're waiting for somebody to come save us. Sometimes we do need somebody to save us though, right? Which is what the light is about. But this one feels like we are waiting for somebody to save us, okay? And it's saying that we're having a challenge. That's challenging for us. So this might be like the way that I interpret this in this slot here is basically saying we need to really reevaluate how we feel towards us wanting to be saved. Okay, so it feels challenging in that way. So if you have complicated feelings about that, like about being the damsel in distress, where you have to kind of like wait on other people to save you, this might be something that might be coming up or challenging. So, yeah, like okay, I don't think I'm explaining it the best. Okay, let me kind of like restart over. So this is saying like, yes, look at how you can save yourself, for sure, but also look at why you don't like to be saved. I think that's like a better way to say that. Does that make sense? Like, I think it's saying something. I think I was more correct when I said codependency, because it almost feels like there is a message here about codependency and independence and being independent. Is independency a word? I don't know. But it's basically saying like there's something challenging in the way of like waiting for other people to save you. So like maybe you are so independent and you have to wait for an external situation, person, organization to pull you out of a rut or come, quote unquote, save you. I'm trying to think of an example I can give here, but it definitely just feels like that might be challenging for you to kind of like wait for somebody else. But also the other thing too is like it's asking us to challenge ourselves on like whether we actually need that other external situation, person, organization, like whatever it actually is. So definitely I would just think about, I know it's not under the reflect card, but this is what I'm getting, okay? And I always, read intuitively, is kind of like reflect on how we feel to being saved, because I feel like that is part of the challenge here. Is like I think it brings up really deep things that we had like maybe buried or we haven't necessarily thought of before. Like there's something going on with our independence, with our codependency. Like you might be like really codependent, or you might be like extremely independent, right? And so I think it challenges both areas depending on, again, the person or your particular certain situation. So there's kind of like something there, but it feels challenging. So you might have to be like waiting for somebody to do something for you, and that's very challenging for you. Or you might be and that's the challenge, or you might be like waiting for somebody to do something for you, and you're too dependent on them. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So it could go both ways is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it just feels really challenging. But either way, it feels like we're kind of like waiting for like a third party to do something for us, and it just feels like very like, okay, maybe I have an example now. I just thought of it. Like maybe you are trying to move to a new home and you need a co-signer because you don't qualify for the place on your own, and you need like a third person to help you out. And so this person is maybe taking forever, to sign it, and that's like challenging to you because it's kind of like stirring up something in you where it's like, oh God, I can't believe I need a third person, and this is like frustrating because I have to like wait for them, and I'm used to being so independent. Or it could be like you feel guilty that you can't afford the apartment on your own, and you feel guilty that you even have to use like a third party. So like I said, it could kind of like go both ways where you're really looking at your relationship to like other people and how much you need them, and that's just very challenging in general. God, that was a long one to kind of massage out, but that's what I'm getting. If that wasn't super clear, which I don't blame you if it wasn't, let me know down below. But if you have something that resonates with that, let me know as well down below, because I would love to know. But yeah, so kind of like it stirs up like a lot of stuff in you just by this one archetype. So it definitely feels challenging in that way. So interesting stuff. Oof, made my mouth really dry because I tried to talk a lot. Okay, change, diamond radiance. Okay, I'm going to actually take a sip of water. Hold on. Okay, I think I'm a little better now. All right, so this is very different from what we just got in the last reading, in the last weekly reading, okay? This is radiance, so this is basically saying that we're radiating. We're shining like a diamond. So that's the change, okay? And if you guys remember last time, it was the depression, it was the orphan card. So depression, loneliness, isolation, like that kind of thing. Very different. So things are changing this month. I don't know what happened last week, but this month in general, it feels like we are feeling more radiant. We are shining more. This definitely feels like we want to be seen more. So that's very different. That's a big change for us. It feels like, we want to be seen for who we are. We want to, maybe you find yourself like getting dressed up more and leaving the house in, better clothing, or maybe you buy new clothing this month, like something along those lines. But yeah, you are radiating like a diamond. You're glowing. This definitely means that people are more like magnetized towards you. So you could definitely be gaining more people that are attracted to you, not just, romantically, but like in general. So you might be meeting new people. So I wouldn't be surprised if you got some socialization cards going on. All right, focus. Oh, I just picked twice in a row, but that's okay because I read intuitively, and that means that this card wanted to come out. That's how I roll, baby. That's how I roll. I don't put cards back. All right, so focus. Look at that, double focus. Maybe that's the message that we really needed to hear. Obviously it is. So we need to focus on what we need to focus on. Get stuff done. Okay, this also tells me that we need a one-track mind. I think we got a message like that a couple weeks ago. Focus on one thing. Okay, focus on getting at least one thing done. Okay, so double focus. What can I say there? All right, reflect. We have mending. Okay, so reflecting on mending a relationship, or a partnership, or a it could be like a business partnership, can be a relationship, could be, I was going to say something, it could be minuscule, but it's definitely not minor in that way. Like I was going to say, like maybe you're putting something back together that you broke. I don't think so. Because it's under reflect. Okay, so reflect means that it's deep introspection. Okay, so this is about like maybe thinking about mending a relationship that you maybe haven't been thinking about it before, or a business partnership. But this doesn't mean that it's happening. It means that we need to start thinking about it. So if this month you start thinking about maybe calling somebody that maybe you had a falling out with in the past, it could be from like years ago, weeks ago, months ago, days ago, but you definitely are thinking about a reunion of some kind, I will say. Maybe you're quite literally thinking about a family reunion or something. I'm not sure. But reflect on it, think about it, journal on it. I also think it's also on the major side because it's asking us to really put thought into it, but also to like, it's not like a spontaneous thing. Don't take quick action on it. Don't rush into it. Is basically what it's trying to say there. All right, responsibilities. We have Prince in the shadow, using power for self-aggrandizement, romantic charm and potential for power. Okay. Basically, it's saying like using your charisma for not the greatest purposes. So it's your responsibility to kind of see through somebody like that. Oof, we've never gotten this under responsibility. So I will say that it is your responsibility to try to see, make sure that you are, I'm going to say it this way, not being love bombed. It's a little extreme, but I'm going for it. Make sure somebody doesn't sway you. I'm just going to say this. It feels like it's a masculine energy. So that could mean somebody in a female body, but that has more masculine energy. Okay. Like a swift talker, like that kind of thing. Like a business partner who might be, in a female body. But it definitely does feel like it's like they're using their charisma, their wit to kind of like manipulate you or love bomb you or get into your good graces, like that kind of thing. So I definitely do feel like that kind of energy there with the shadow and the prince. So it's your responsibilities to vet people, to really not make any quick decisions. Speaking of quick decisions, of letting this, if it's like a romantic thing, letting this person in so quickly, like that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely vet, I will say, for sure. Do not take somebody's charisma, and if they're a smooth talker, don't, it's your responsibility to see through those things is basically what it's saying here. Money, finances, and career. We have Moss, adaptability. Okay, so you're very adaptable when it comes to money, finances, and career. So, you might be wearing many hats this month. You must adapt to whatever's kind of going on. Maybe your company is being sold to another company and you have to adapt to that. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you are pivoting to something different. Maybe you're creative and you're pivoting to something different, so you have to be adaptable. Just be flexible, be adaptable, be resilient. I know you guys are, but when it comes to money, finances, and career, it's a tough one. I know I know a lot of people would prefer this to be a stable area of life, but it's not always. So just be as adaptable as possible. Surprise yang. Okay, so this is masculine energy. So I like this for the surprise because basically it's saying that, surprise, yang energy. Okay, so basically that energy is like the yang is like getting things done, structure, logic, just, not triple thinking, like not overthinking it, just like doing it, And so this is really good because this is like momentum, motivation, that kind of thing. So I'm getting that type of energy. So it's a surprise. So if y'all have been waiting for busy energy, if you've been waiting for things to pick up, more momentum, more motivation, more getting things done, more strategy, right here. So I like that because we're not expecting it, or maybe we haven't had it for a long time. So it kind of comes out of the blue, and we like that. It's like when I say we like that, I mean it seems like a positive thing for sure. All right, friends, we have rescuer. Interesting. It's the other archetype I feel like is very closely related and intertwined with the codependency independent thing. Okay, provide strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. Okay, so this is being the rescuer to the friends, but it's in the positive. So somebody does need help, okay, and you're going to help them. Could come from the opposite way, be energy coming in, meaning like somebody could be helping you. Can be linked to that damsel, okay? So I'm not going to repeat all the, I basically gave a novel when I was kind of talking about that, but this is about helping somebody else, helping out somebody that needs help, a friend, community, family member, and then possibly them doing the same towards you. I will say that the rescuer, exchanging gifts, damsel could also be all intertwined. Maybe you're always helping other people and other people aren't helping you. That's why it's an issue. That's why it's a challenge. Okay, so there's something kind of in there, but definitely helping other people, or people helping you in your friend group, community, family members. All right, romantic connection. We have wilderness untamed. Ooh, all right, so we got some wild energy. So, whew, okay, so we've got some very lax energy, very wild energy, very untamed, very unstructured energy. So, I mean, I think this is positive for both singled and coupled people under romantic connection, because this is basically saying like you're really just going with the flow. Like, for example, like if you're dating and you're somebody that usually like has a list of like things that, you know, like they have to take you out to dinner, they have to spend at least $30 on you, they have to, like if you have like a long list of, like that's the opposite of this energy. This is the opposite of this energy. Okay, maybe you throw out that list this month, right? And you start being a little bit more uninhibited, okay? And you start being a little bit more free, a little bit more liberated. I like this. That's all I have to say. It's very, I will say it's also very sexy energy, okay? So take that as you will, guys. All right, what's important? So many things are important. Okay, we have orphaned. All right, so here's that energy from the last reading. And it's under important this time, which basically means that, so this energy again is the depressed energy, it's the isolated energy, it's the sad energy, it's the isolated, alone energy. Okay, so this is basically saying it's important that you take care of your mental health. It's important that you take care of all those things, okay? So this tells me that there might be just some of that coming into the month, which makes sense. Here it is. It was, like I said, it was in the last weekly. But yeah, take care of your mental health. Do whatever you have to do to make sure your mental health is okay. That's all I will say. I'm not a therapist, as you guys know. If you need help, reach out to somebody. If you need to go to a therapist, go to a therapist. If you need to go out, you know, call off work and go outside, call off work, go outside. Okay, so it's important to get your mental health in check this month, for sure. Health and wellness. We have Don Juan and Shadow using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. Okay, God, all right. Gosh, it's very interesting that I felt that energy off of Prince, because now I'm kind of feeling it with the Don Juan here in the shadow and health and wellness. So I will say this. When I was talking about maybe somebody love bombing you, somebody maybe taking advantage of you, now we have somewhat similar energy in health and wellness. I will say this. It might be somebody in this industry. Okay, so if you're on a weight loss journey, a physical journey, just watch out for anybody trying to sell you snake oil, right? Or try to take advantage of you, like a personal trainer. You know, watch out for anybody that's slick or charismatic, or maybe if, you know, speaking of physical, and you're like the chronic illness world, I know a lot of people try to sell you a cure, like I said, the snake oil. Like they try to tell you that they can heal you. You just have to pay them an exorbitant amount of money, like a crazy amount of money. This one feels like, yeah, so that was like coming off the Prince card, but this also says that it might be in a sexual way. Can I say sexual on YouTube? I don't know. Or it might be in a romantic way. Okay, so somebody, God, I don't like this energy. Just watch your backs, guys, with this. But between the Prince and the Don Juan, I don't like this. I just don't. Especially my ladies out there, anybody that identifies as female, watch your back is all I have to say, okay? Just be very clear on boundaries, and just, again, watch out for love bombing of any kind. Especially when it comes to, because I especially don't like it here, because it's like basically their health and wellness section. So it's basically saying like somebody helping you on that journey. So you're trying to get well, and then somebody takes advantage of you. That's what it feels like. I don't like this energy. It makes me upset. I'm just going to tell you right now. Watch your back, people. Again, yes, for people that identify as female, but also anyone in general. Okay, males could also be victims to snake oil, you know, and things like that. So just watch out for anybody trying to, again, manipulate you, get over on you, take advantage of you. Just vet them. I now see why intuition is here. Okay, use your intuition. If you feel like something is right, then it's not right. If you want to take care of your mental health and you try to go to somebody, you know, speaking of taking care of your mental health, you want to try to find a new therapist, you have a consultation with a new therapist and they creep you out, listen to your intuition. Okay, that's all I have to say. Please take care of yourselves. Okay, guys, please. This energy, man, I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, let's move on to overall outcome, but please, this energy is kind of like jumping out at me, so. All right, Rainbow Beauty. What a nice card to leave off on after that. Okay, so yes, all right, so overall outcome, finally seeing the beauty. Okay, so in the last reading as well, we had the beauty card, but we had it in the challenge spot. So we had an issue seeing the beauty. Now, overall outcome, towards the end of the month, we will see it. So this is a very transformative month, I feel like, because we go from, it feels like we go from like feeling like we're powerless to then seeing the beauty in all things. What a great transformation, I think. But yeah, there's some things in there that, like I said, give me pause. Okay, Prince and Don Juan, I'm looking at you. I would say those are the two red flags of it. The issues and the challenges and the rescuer over here, not so much, because like I said, it's asking us to look deeper at our codependency and our independence issues. You know, it's just asking us to find more balance in our lives in that way. And then, you know, being radiant, so we're being a little bit more magnetic to the world. We're being a little bit more self-expressive. We're being a little bit more ready to be seen. And so I find that as like a positive thing. But again, these things here. And take care of your mental health, okay, as well. So yeah, okay, guys. Not the month I was expecting, but it's the month that we're having. So, all right, guys, enjoy the month. And like I said, comments down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.